So if I see a car in a picture, I don't know how big that is. Even if somebody
Right.
tells me that it's 6 meter long, I it
I-
would be hard to actually imagine into that perspective, at least for a lot of
Right.
people. So that is that
Right.
there is a content also, and there is n number of other media things going around. Then you get to book the trial of that car to experience it and all. But not all products are like cars. So if you look at from the topmost view, it's that content generation is just a part of big activity. So your content has to meet the objectives of content ka purpose. Whatever the objective of the content is, it has to meet that. Rest, there is a SEO person, there is a content marketing publishing person, there is a social media वाला जो उसको आगे promote करेगा. But as a content writer, you should try to make the content as it is as easy to read and comprehend as possible. That is something that none of these people can do.
Right.
So they have brought you in. So don't do anything else.
Hi, welcome to the Digital Vigyan podcast. Vigyan is a Sanskrit term for science, and that's precisely what this podcast is all about, the science behind digital marketing. I'm your host, Dronacharya Dave, and I'm here to speak with experts from different domains of digital marketing as well as industry segments and learn their opinion on the ever changing landscape of digital marketing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Digital Vigyan Podcast, a podcast exploring the science behind digital marketing. For this episode, I sat down with a person who comes from a very vast content writing background and speaks strongly on the importance of having a clarity on the objective behind creating content for a brand. Mr. Narayan Verma, a content expert with 15 plus years in financial services, training, marketing, and digital content. He has written and published more than 3,000 articles over 8 years in digital marketing for more than 25 brands, including the likes of Max Life, ICICI Prudential, HDFC Ergo, H&R Johnson, Canada HSBC, and more. It was such an intriguing conversation wherein Narayan highlighted the use of content for readers and that for marketing purposes. He provided insights on best practices every professional content writer must adhere to. Here's how the conversation unfolded.
कैसे हैं नारायण जी?
So, बढ़िया sir, बढ़िया. First of all, thank you very much for bringing me on this podcast. It's a grand opportunity. Usually, people like us work in the shadows. Nobody really knows who is doing what.
No, I would like to
Uh,
thank you to to agreeing to do this, taking time from your very hectic and busy schedule. So
okay.
starting, yeah. So start with, I think me and all the listeners also on this podcast, I think they would like to understand, probably your entire journey in the field of content, because I understand that's your core expertise. So why don't you just talk us through your entire journey in the field of content, and also uh, to add to that, I would also like to ask you, to mention one major learning. This is one particular thing that I'm very keen to understand from you. One major learning you've received in all these years, in 10, 15 years, which still remains with you, something that you still go by and use in all your operations and all your campaigns and strategies.
About the experience has been quite volatile. If you look at the timeline and everything, so for initial 5 6 years, my profile has been mixed, all across, like sales, content, advisory, client development, business development, and then
Right.
back to content. So, so after experiencing all that, I realized that content is the best place for the time being. Content has been the best place, but new technological development, although it was predictable, So in 2017-18, we were working for a few clients who were technology companies, and the kind of technologies they were talking about that made me realize that pretty soon we'll see something that people will say that it is going to take our job away.
Uh, the
Fortunately,
what we are looking at as the automation wave right now.
right, right. So this automation now this automation comes from a very so like all the content that you see written every day, like 98% of the content that is written every day on the internet and published is already there. 98% is
Right,
not new. That 2% that is new, that will be coming from the people who are sitting at the top of at the core of the content and knowledge generation, not the content generation. So we generate,
right.
marketing people generate content, we don't generate knowledge, and that is the core principle of this all this automating thing. So anything that doesn't require innovation can be automated. That's the
So,
automation perspective.
so
So
that's a very interesting line you just mentioned, that uh, people mostly today are generating content, they are not generating
so
knowledge,
what happens is
right?
it's a established digital marketing or you say content generation strategy that you if you are generating content on something that is popular, obviously there is a lot of content already there on that same thing, but your sole purpose is to so readability is somewhere hygienic. It has to be readable. That is why you are a writer. Otherwise, anybody could have been writing the art. So, readability is not the place where you need to work. Basically, you need to pay attention to. But what you need to pay attention to is whether your article is going to rank or not. Because if it
Right,
doesn't rank, nobody will be able to access it and read it. So, Google
right,
becomes, so search engine becomes more important than the idea that you are pitching in. Because it's
right.
already there. You are just competing. There are 5 people running already. In fact, 10, 100 people running. Out of them, 10 are on the top, and
On
you
the
want to
top,
be
yes,
among those 10 people.
among
What
those
you
10.
do, you
Absolutely.
match, you pair the speed, you bring out a meter or odometer or something, you match the speed of these top five people. You try to match your content with them, and you try to give certain X factor to it, like थोड़ा सा तड़का मार के उसको you try to publish and hope that it
Right.
ranks. So that is the strategy that has worked for like 60-70% of the people in the market. So that
Is
is
that the
why
same thing you also have been following?
I would not say I have not been following that, but it depends on the scenario. Like, see,
Right,
not everybody appreciates the Mona Lisa picture. Just to
right,
give you an analogy, not everybody will like that picture. So people who like the that kind of art will should be given that kind of art, but those who do not like it will get back to us telling us that this is not what we wanted. So marketing is not the thing, not the place for innovation except for storytelling. But in content, you don't innovate. In content, you digital content especially, you try to just outdo the other people, that other 5 people
right,
that now, if you find something very innovative, see, search engine has a weakness. And this, see, if search engine is the core of all the digital content that is there, all the digital marketing is that is happening. Now, if search engine has a fault, the entire building built on that foundation will have a fault. Now, search engine has
right.
a fault that if you have something new, now there is an exception to it also. So if you discover something new and you want to popularize it, digital is not the way, not the place to do it.
Okay.
Because
Interesting.
digital is going to popularize the thing that people are searching for. If people are not searching for your product,
Mhm.
you can give up the idea on going to digital marketing and trying to become number one. So
unless you
you
are
need,
doing paid marketing.
you can do paid marketing also, but if if people are not searching for the keywords that you are supposed to address,
Right.
then so tomorrow if somebody builds a car with a safe nuclear technology that you just fuel once in a lifetime, and then it runs like freely and safely for 20 years. Let's say that miracle happens, although it will not
Hmm.
happen, but let's say it happens. And now you want to popularize that car before the technology is buried. So what you do, you can't go to digital media, digital like Google search engine. You can't build a website. You start punching in blog posts. That's not the correct way of doing it, or and not at least the fastest way. The first thing you need to do is publish an article in NY Times or Times of India or some big publisher, especially international publisher like Wall Street Journal or something like that. So that way people will get searching for you. Once they start searching for you, obviously you have done all the background work. You have built the website, you have published the content pieces and all. They are there for indexing, and when people start searching, they should find your content. That's so you have built that, and then you publish an article in New York Times. Once you do that, there you go. There is your search volume. Before you do that, there is no search volume. So
Right.
you build the website, technology is there, blah blah blah. You did all the work, fantastic. But people are not coming to you unless and until you go to the traditional mode. You go to people and tell them, yes, this is also something that is there. That is
Right.
why traditional digital has not yet overtaken even in the last 20 years. It has improved a lot, but it will maybe take another 20, 30 years to actually overcome the traditional marketing things, become bigger than traditional.
Right. So what you're basically trying to say is that despite all these new uh, emerging technologies coming up in the digital framework, all the AI tools and automation, chat GPT, and all these new technologies which have entered into the entire digital marketing arena. Still, the uh, the old ways of marketing on the digital platform, they're still there. Like, the main core aspect of digital marketing is still there, which is basically providing the uh, solution to the problems that people are looking for, right?
Yes, obviously,
I mean,
digital doesn't
that's what
usually.
the crux is, right? That's basically what I think the entire purpose is. Like, as per what I understand, anyone would come to you or to your website or to your to your services or products only if they find that your services or your product are providing the kind of solution what they are looking for, right?
Yes, so Google has almost 36,000 queries every hour which have no answers.
Okay. Or
So
random answers.
when you search on Google, like search for something, they have started displaying a lot of questions, like FAQs, like questions and answers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they capture the questions which generally do not get answered, like do not find a relevant answer, like their AI can't find relevant answer for that. So those questions are also there. You can look into them and try to answer them if they are relevant for you. But obviously those questions are like somebody searching for something. It's not a huge volume, but yes, those things are there. So some gap analysis is there. But digital, so Google doesn't go to somebody's house and ask them, ki, okay, do you have everything you need? So discovery
Right.
is not there on the digital. Discovery only happens with the traditional marketing. That is where the focus
Right.
group sits down and talks about the things that the product should have, all the features and everything. Digital is just creating, is the periphery of the outer world, the thicker layer of the marketing.
So it's basically digital. I think digital platforms are basically just to have a uh, broader audience outreach, I believe, because obviously
Or
you cannot reach out to someone sitting in, let's say, a European country, if that's what if that's what your target audience is, uh, or even if someone is, let's say, sitting in New Delhi and wants to reach out to some set of people in Bengaluru or Chennai or Jammu and Kashmir. So reaching out to those people, and that too from different demography, I think digital platforms provide that uh, podium to
yes,
to the
but then
brands.
it becomes it is much easier and faster to do through digital rather than so traditional में
Yes.
traditionally chalega obviously. So you need to have that kind of approach and all, but digital doesn't. Digital has if you are uh, if you can access, if you know how to do it, you can do it.
Moving on to the next thing that I want your opinion on, and it's something that's very closely related to what I do and I what you do, which is content marketing, right? Uh, so I mean, when we go online, or when we read about when we are starting in content marketing, there are different number of C's that I kind of have come across a lot of times, while reading through some articles. Some says there are three C's of content marketing you should know. Some say there are five C's of content marketing, six C's of content. So the number varies, but there are always these you know X number of C's of content that you should know. And but the interesting part is that out of in all these guides and uh, you know to do articles kind of thing, uh, one C is a very common one in that in all these uh, articles, is that of context. You know so, which I think one of the uh, core of when it comes to developing content, like whether you are creating it for offline marketing, or like right now, since we are talking about the digital marketing framework. So obviously and not just in terms of ranking on SERP, but overall terms. So context, one C of the content marketing is that of context. So what's your take on that? How important is context in creating any kind of content?
See, putting context with other C's is like saying barrel has the oil, and there are five kinds of oil with the barrel. It's not with the barrel; it's in the barrel.
In the
So
band,
context is everything. So when you say context,
right?
context means it also can mean the consumer's perspective, the seller's perspective, the producer's perspective, or the marketer's perspective. So
Right.
so with the context, without context, how can matlab, it's it's like going on
It's
the stage
undoable.
and start blabbering about something without knowing what the
uh,
event is for and what the people are there for.
right,
So context is the entire setting of it. So if it's a wealth
right,
management event, you have to call the speaker for wealth management who knows what he's talking about and who knows the
right,
subject. It's not like you can call some civil engineer top level IBM, this GE and all these people, and they will come and talk about their wealth management principles. No. So context is everything. Context is what brought that event into the perspective. See, that is what I say. That is what I said. Digital marketing does not generate knowledge. And uh, to tell you frankly, after working with a lot of people, a lot of content writers, I realized that the biggest challenge for all these people, all these writers, is that if you tell them to find a reliable source of information, it's very
They
difficult for
cannot.
them.
Mhm.
It's very difficult for them to judge, especially in the beginning, like first year, second year, first 5 years. They are like कि अरे कहीं भी लिखा है ले आके
छाप दो यार.
किसी ने लिख दिया तो ले आके बस वो ऑथेंटिक है, वो सही है डिजिटल.
Mhm.
But as you realize with the, if you deeply use digital media, social media, and all the digital content, you will realize that it's very difficult to manipulate things. Sorry, it's very easy to manipulate things, and it's very difficult to actually identify that manipulation.
Right.
So you can post like, this is a room, this is a 10 by 10 room, maybe 9 by 9 or 10 by 10. I can put the screen in such a way that you will not realize that I am sitting in a room.
Right.
Right. So, see, uh, so, like 2 3 years back, I wrote an article. I think it's on my LinkedIn, uh, maybe LinkedIn or some website blog. So, your perspective, in any ways, in an open environment, open 360-degree, 3D environment, your vision is actually limited to like 180, 170 degrees in front of you. What is not
Right.
within the this periphery of your vision is, you are not aware of it,
Right.
basically. So if
Right.
you talk only about the vision, no hearing, nothing. So, and information is like the truth, the fact is 360 degrees. So you can't even capture the fact in one vision. How are you supposed to
Right.
capture the fact with a screen which जिसका एंगल भी आप मैनिपुलेट कर सकते हो. So you can't
Right.
capture the whole fact or can't capture the knowledge entirely with the digital media. So coming back to the core of it, where the knowledge is coming from the people who themselves don't care and don't understand the knowledge. So they are not
Mhm.
producing knowledge. Somebody wrote something, everybody will pick it up. If it's ranking, everybody will pick up. See,
Right.
so now it is there on hundreds of platforms. It doesn't make it a fact. The fact is,
So
the
whoever
best
is
is there.
ranking the most, they'll sell.
They automatically become a model to copy. Like Shah Rukh Khan may not be
Right.
the ideal person to idolize, but now since he's a popular mega star or something,
Yeah.
kids grow up thinking they will become somebody like him.
They will become. Yeah.
So that is not
So
the that is not how you generate valuable content. That is how you generate traffic, top funnel. You will get some clicks, but that is the kind of content that anybody can generate and publish. Come to the core content where the knowledge is generated. That is the important area
right.
where actually people should try to reach and approach and try to bring out the information. Very few people actually do that, and what it does is, there is a lot of like every brand ends up starting their own vocabulary. Like
Right.
insurance companies, like private insurance companies, their marketing people have started using terminologies like SIPs with ULIPs. Now SIP, people what understood with SIP is mutual funds. SEBI did
Right.
spend a lot of money in popularizing that and everything, but then these guys came with bigger budgets and They just totally ruined it. And then
Right.
there is other things also, like accidental and critical illness health insurance. So all these things have been put into, they have tried to compartmentalize it in their own way. So somebody is calling something, somebody is saying that I am selling health insurance. What they are
Hmm.
selling is critical insurance, critical health insurance, critical illness insurance. Somebody is saying I am selling life insurance, again selling critical insurance. So if as a serious researcher, if you go into the market and try to find who's selling what, common man will be mad. Like at the end of the day,
Right.
should I buy health
And I think
insurance or
that's
life?
why, yeah, and I think that's why today, like if I go online and if I look at the kind of content also that that is available from different sources, whether it is through social media platforms or from Google search or any YouTube videos, the kind of content that is available, I think even companies, brands, they now understand that the users have become more aware, more smart in picking what they want to consume as a content, and that's why the kind of content also is now kind of transforming into more of uh, you know knowledge providing kind of content, that the whys and how to's and difference between this, and like for example you just mentioned about people don't really understand the difference between SIP and a ULIP plan, or maybe an SIP or a ULIP plan or a mutual fund, right? Or an SIP or a mutual fund. Uh, I think that's also something that has kind of changed over the period of time lately. You agree on that?
Yes, it's been so knowledge content has been there like since feature snippet came into picture on Google. So since then, FAQs started catching up because Google was trying to bring this feature. So they started picking up questions. The marketers caught up to the trend and they started posting more FAQs, questions, answers. So yes, that is there. So that is why I'm saying. So content writer, see, for me, building a career of a content writer will be more valuable. So that is why I'm suggesting these things.
I
See,
think a lot
this is
of
a big
content
dialogue.
writers would be, I think a lot of content writers would be really glad to hear when you say that building uh, a career in content writing can be very really fruitful, because uh, I've come across a lot of people who really doubt themselves, and when they think about, okay, I'm a content writer, but what's next? Where am I going to go in this field? You know, so that's really one thing, because uh, I think a lot of expectations also come from content per se, and I'm right now I'm specifically uh, taking the digital marketing framework in the picture. So a lot of expectations come from content, like uh, it has to uh, you know add in brand building, it has to help in lead generation, it has to help in website traffic generation. So uh, but so I want to understand from you actually, like, while we are talking on this, that is there any one metric? Like I talked about brand building, I talked about lead generation, website traffic, and there are lot many other expectations that comes from a content developer, a person who is into content, whether it is just a content writer or a content marketer. So is there any one metric which you think is the most important for a content guy to focus on, or he or she just have to give in and accept that they have to be ready for being a Brahma and have so many hands, and they expected to deliver a lot of things and still not be given any credit?
Uh, Not really. See, this is a content generation is not the same as blogging. So,
Right.
content writer's job, the professional content writer is not supposed to be a blogger. If
Right.
you're a blogger, then story is different. If you're a content writer in the industry, the expectation from you is to generate a readable content.
Right.
If somebody is expecting you to bring traffic and all this, that these are all secondary goals. Even 50 word ka Twitter post can generate traffic.
Right.
Traffic generation is not the content writer's goal, and it will not add value to the content writer. So I know, just to give you an example, Amazon have any this e-commerce platforms. They generate like thousands of product descriptions every day.
Right.
Okay, now there are some places people are generating content, some places it's somehow automated, or in some way it has been automated and fast tracked. That content is, it's a lot of content. So if I see a car in a picture, I don't know how big that is. Even if somebody
Right.
tells me that it's 6 meter long, I it
Uh,
would be hard to actually imagine into that perspective, at least for a lot of
Right.
people. So that is that
Right.
there is a content also, and there is n number of other media things going around. Then you get to book the trial of that car to experience it and all. But not all products are like cars. So if you look at from the topmost view, it's that content generation is just a part of big activity. So your content has to meet the objectives of content purpose. Whatever the objective of the content is, it has to meet that. Rest, there is a SEO person, there is a content marketing publishing person, there is a social media वाला जो उसको आगे promote करेगा. But as a content writer, you should try to make the content as it is as easy to read and comprehend as possible. That is something that none of these people can do.
Right.
So they have brought you in. So don't do anything else.
No, no, I
So
completely,
try to do
completely
this.
agree.
And second thing is, so this is one thing. This is one primary thing. So storytelling is important, yes, but fact checking is also important.
It is.
So
It is.
when
Absolutely.
when you write for a brand, so brand will like to impose their own framework. This is the kind of information we need, and this is the information you will put out. So within that framework, you will have to figure out how to present the facts and not what somebody else has said. So you find those facts, verify them, and so that is where the biggest challenge is. Sometimes the generic information you are picking up from the internet, because the content writer is sitting on the website only, on the internet access only. There are no libraries or there are no universities, professors sitting with them to verify everything and every information. So they have to be careful where they pick up their information from. So if 100 ships are passing Panama every day, and I pick up that information from some website which is ranking on top one day, and I got to that website somehow and I saw that okay, it's a beautiful website, everything, but I should check whether that website is giving authentic information or not. To
Right.
tell you the fact, I have personally never relied on information from Times of India
Okay.
or Hindustan Times or the Hindu or any journalistic publication unless
Any
and until I
particular
can
reason behind that?
verify that information.
Okay. But
Because a lot of these because a lot of
yeah.
these people are also so. you will sometimes you will not realize whether this is a sponsored stuff or this is some just some journalistic finding.
But I think in the newspapers, if it's a sponsored article, they kind of mention it there that it's a sponsored article.
There are, see, this is a lawless country, okay. I'm not talking about India, I'm talking about the digital space. This is a totally
Digital space,
lawless
yeah,
country.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
anybody can come with a gun and do anything they want. So, so, so everybody is free to do. If I pay good enough money, my article will not even get the sponsored.
yeah. Right.
That is why publication, checking the authenticity is important. That is why, see, as a blogger, you can do all that stuff. If I'm writing on my own blog, on my own opinions,
So
I can.
basically, you it's about being try to at least if not being but at least trying to be the subject matter expert, you know, to know the whereabouts and what's and hows of that particular topic that you are writing on, so that you know no false information goes out to the reader, right? That's basically
Uh,
what
you don't actually
it means.
have to be subject matter expert. So I am not a subject matter expert on an NLP. I can write
Hmm.
an article, a very reliable article on NLP based on reliable sources of information. So I need to have that acumen of finding and identifying those
Okay,
sources.
right.
So
Got
once
it.
you identify a source of reliable information, you can stick to that source, or you can find a number of other sources like that,
Right.
and they don't change. Usually, they don't change. Not every day. So once you find them, you're good, good to go in the market.
So, okay, so now I would just like to, because I'm sitting here with a expert content writer, and with the current wave of this automation going on, I would like to bring out the rabbit from the hat now. Uh, chat Chat GPT, okay, your
Dangerous.
enemy.
It's ready to
Danger.
switch it off
Uh,
like hotcake. No,
uh,
actually, see, again, so far, as I said, automation is only possible with those things where innovation is not required.
right.
So anything that Chat GPT will do for you is just
And it's
or
not just Chat GPT. I mean,
any AI tool,
okay, Chat,
any
yeah, any because Chat GPT, I personally feel it has just got that kind of unnecessary
Bitcoin
hype.
like
You know,
popularity.
yeah, there is there is Jasper, there is writer. There have been a lot of such AI tools available already before Bard or ChatGPT came into the picture. But I
I don't
think it
remember
just
the
got
name
that
of it. I don't remember the name of it. One of my teammates had found a kind of beta version of one of these AI writers,
hmm,
and you could put just two three words in that. So it's one box only, and you just put two three words, and it will give you uh,
a
repeated
writer
lines,
person. Yeah,
write up of maybe as many words as you want. But
right,
so that was a crude version, so it used to repeat a lot of stuff. Same thing happens with all these AI tools also, but now they have become smarter, so they try to eliminate the repetitions. But they still can't bring any information that is not there on the World Wide Web. So the tools what they are doing. So you are a producer. Let's get back to the real case. You are a producer of something. You are producing a product. Now you want to approach a number of customers. You built a website. You built a online store to display your products, and you start to market that. right? Now you are not alone. There are hundreds of others, similar product manufacturers to market their product. Now you can't supply your product to everywhere, all across the world. So you will supply around your territory or wherever you can supply. Like for example, within India. Now Google has come. You already have your website, you have your e-commerce store, but it's like it's a big market lined up with hundreds of shops. Somebody enters from here, he may not even reach you. So now at the entry gate, a list is published. These many manufacturers are there. They are building this is product. Whatever you are looking for, look in the list and go. Yellow pages. Remember? Then Google came in. They said, ki, okay, you don't have to look through all the yellow pages. You can simply type your what you are looking for, and if the product is in the list, you will see who is manufacturing it. You can go straight away.
Right.
So Google has built a layer over it, not over the real interface. Like after the real interface, real market, there was yellow pages. Google has built their own interface on the yellow pages. Okay.
Right.
Now over Google or any other search engine, now over that other search engine. So what you used to do as a content writer, you will Google on that Google on your term, whatever you are looking for. You will find a number of websites. You will go through 4 or 5 of them, consume information, and then blurt it out in your article. Now this process is same, no matter what you are
Yeah, yeah.
writing. This process is same. So what you now you go to ChatGPT, you type the term, you get the that summary of information that you could have got from 4 or 5 spending time on 4 or 5 websites. Now you got that all that with within a few seconds. But it's still it's it's not going to give you the X factor in the article. It's just giving you the information.
Right.
Also remember, ChatGPT doesn't take any responsibility. When you
Yeah.
are going through the internet, you had the responsibility of choosing the sources that were reliable, right? You could have discarded the unreliable sources, but
Right.
now
Right. Right.
within that content is
So
information from
ChatGPT
the
is
most
basically
reliable
not
source.
going to filter out on the basis of
Oh,
authenticity of the.
they will not even tell you.
Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely. I think, and that's precisely on point. What you just said is, and that's why even I feel that despite ChatGPT and all such, automation tools coming in, that it can give you that artificial intelligence angle, but you still need a human intelligence, interference, to make sure that the content which is going out, the final draft, is actually the real one, the one that actually gives some value, some knowledge to the reader, and it's the right kind of information, the authentic information. So yeah, that human
See,
intervention is always going to be required.
right. So what from a user's perspective? So if I publish a content piece using ChatGPT and or any AI tool, from a user's perspective, what users as a user, what you are looking for in the content? I would look for what I have discovered is it's not always the information. See, information may be there, but if information was the only thing people were looking for, nobody will move from anywhere away from encyclopedia or Wikipedia. Or
Right.
Wikipedia would have been regulated, highly regulated, if people were
Yeah.
looking for only information. People are not looking for information only, they are looking for the analogy of that information. So
Right.
most people they don't care which satellite is roaming above my head. But they will care if they have 5G or 4G connection, right?
Right. Right.
So, so satellite position doesn't matter. The technical stuff doesn't matter. How many antennas I have in my locality doesn't matter. How many antennas I have on my phone might matter to me if it stops working for a second. So
Right,
as a
right,
user, I don't care what is going on, how many ships pass through Panama Canal, Suez Canal, whatever. Whether I'm getting my shipment on time or not, that's what I want to understand. So if Russia is fighting Ukraine, am I getting rice at 40 rupees per kg or 100
right,
rupees per kg? That's what matters to me. So when the war starts, that is an information, but the how it will affect other things, a number of other things, that is the
right,
perspective that a writer can bring. So
right.
that's what people are looking for. Chat GPT is not going to give you that. That you need to do it yourself. But what I have discovered is most of these AI tools refrain from giving you or pulling out the number or numerical information or quantitative data also. So even if you want to include, so you want to write very solid, very compelling piece of work, you will have to
Right.
do the research on your own. You're on your own.
Absolutely.
There is no automation involved.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
I'm sure a lot of content writers will rejoice to hear this.
I'm I'm definitely sure a lot of content writers are going to feel really happy listening to what all you've just shared today. And on that note, I would again really like to thank you, Naranji, for agreeing to do this. It was really nice to have you on the show. It was really insightful. I think there were a lot of different perspective from a content writer's point of that we could get. So thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you very much, Dronacharya ji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. If you like the podcast, please do subscribe to my channel on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast.